What's up guys, welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Today I'm gonna talk about Guardian Games and kinda how I feel about it. Um, well, it's kinda definite that Titans have already won, and to be honest, I don't care who wins because it really doesn't matter. All I've noticed is that the winner gets a mark on the heir apparent. I don't know if you noticed, but there is a marking right there. There's a Titan symbol right there. I guess that's one of the things that's always gonna be there, depending on which class wins. But the Titans have already won, so you know. It's a very small thing. The second thing I've heard is that there might be a statue in the tower of the class that won, which is going to be Titan. But then again, it's kind of a minor thing, mainly because how much time do you really spend in the tower? I don't know. You might not spend anything or any time at all up there. It might be the first week to get the bounties, which I've heard you might be able to pick up from the ship or something like that. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I just heard it. The second is if you're gonna go to maybe your vault, you have dim, you know, so you can take out from postmaster and your vault. Obviously you're gonna have banshee. That's about it. Or cryptarch, I guess, and hawthorn. But then again, statues mostly the statue is most likely going to be where the podium is right now, you know, right there. Who really cares? I mean, I can understand the kind of backlash, not backlash, but the kind of hate or anger towards it because they did get the bonuses. I don't know how big of a bonus it is, and also because they can produce double laurel with their super, which I mean hunters can actually do as well. The thing here is, yes, even if hunters could win, hunters could have won if people just played on hunters, but here's the thing with games is that if you present a buff or extra bonuses or anything that's gonna speed up completions on a certain character or a specific thing, people tend to go there to, you know, because you're gonna complete things faster. It's just kind of obvious. So when they did guess announce it or showed it or whatever they did to show that the Titans did have that buff, obviously people are going to be like, what the fuck am I doing? I mean, why play on the other characters when I can just be playing on my Titan and complete the bounties and triumphs faster? So I guess that's the thing. That's what happens as soon as someone gets a buff, regardless of how big it is. People tend to just go over there, and I can kind of understand why they gave it a buff, and it's because there was such a low amount of Titan players. So, you know, if they thought that everyone's gonna play on their favorite characters, and if someone had Titan as their favorite character, they would have literally no chance of winning. So they wanted to buff it to make it more equal. But then again, you know, as I said, if one gets a buff towards progressional, people tend to go there regardless. So it kind of backlash towards that. But I mean, yeah, it is the people's own fault for picking that class, but at the same time it's kind of Bungie's fault for actually doing it by buffing a certain class. It's just there's no real winning between that, because in one hand the Titans or the class that was least used obviously needed a buff to stand a chance, but then again, if you do buff one character, people is gonna, you know, go over there to that character. So there's like really no winning between there. And yeah, I mean, if you truly didn't want Titans to win, if you are really hating towards Titan right now. It's your own goddamn fault for playing on a Titan, even if they did have the buff. As I said, personally, I don't care who wins because it's such a minor thing that's gonna not gonna change anything. That's about it. I mean, it's just gonna be a statue in the tower. Who cares? I go there to pick up bounties once a week. You know, the weeklies. I mean, I might go up there every now and again to pick up additional bounties. But that's about it. I guess 3 times a week since I have 3 characters. But I mean, it's not gonna have a real impact. You're not going to see like Titan themed marks or Titan themed anything all over the planets everywhere you go. You're not gonna see that. It's just gonna be in the tower on that small little mark on Heir Apparent. That's about it. So if you're getting worked up about it, I mean, just chillax. As I said, I can kind of understand the hate, just because, you know, one did get that unfair kind of advantage in a way. It can seem as unfair, but it really isn't, I guess. But yeah, as I explained, since one does get a buff, people tend to go over there because, you know, faster completions. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of what I want to say. I guess about that, but the whole event itself and how they could have made it so much better, and that is to kind of done a little bit what Solstice event did. So first of all, I really despite the objectives, I guess, the challenges, the objectives, the bounties, or whatever you want to call it, on the Solstice event armor pieces. Now that might be weird to say when I just said that I wanted them to do something like that, but what they could have done is you start off with an armor set. Let's say this universal armor set that they have here. That would have made perfect sense if these were the ones you got, and you use them throughout, and every week, if when you're done, like fill up a certain bounty like Eva's and maybe the podium, both of them, you get the new armor set 2.0 or whatever. Not literally the 2.0 armor, but you know, an upgrade off to this one, like level 2, which does change a little bit, kind of like the Solstice does. And then the third one again changes, and all of these kind of comes with their own buffs, where the cape or the mark or the bond, as we have now, already kind of gives you a buff. That is extra XP, glimmer, I think, planetary materials upon completing Forges, Crucible, Gambit, and Strikes, which is pretty nice. I mean, that's some buff. I think it was 10% or something. I'm not entirely sure. Something like that. So they could have had something like that, and every other level might have increased it, might have increased like laurel drops or something like that. It could have changed it so laurels were automatically picked up throughout all of the activities and not use Crucible and Gambit. I mean, I can understand why they are automatically picked up in Crucible and Gambit, but why they weren't in Strikes and Forges and even in Overworld, I don't understand that completely. But the upgrades to the armor could definitely have done that. Maybe come with other buffs like the ability regen or moment speed, something like that. That could have been cool. And third one, again, adds a little bit more flair to it, and the completed thing, or the thing you wanted to fight over, was the fourth armor set, which would have been the one if you like for the class that won, which could have had all of this glow effect to it, maybe more like golden marks or ribbons on your clothings, like all of that, like kind of like how this Solstice is, but more flashier, since you know it is for the team that wins or the class that wins. That could have been more of an incentive to actually play on the character you wanted. It could have been like you could have looked at them, you could have seen them before, like, oh, that looks really good on Warlock, for example. I really want to play on Warlock to get that armor set. Instead of you're gonna fight for a statue in the tower. That's really nothing. And also because during Solstice event, you actually felt like you were taking part of it because you were using the armor, which in Guardian games, you're not. You're not really in the spirit, I guess you can say. They specifically made these armor sets for Guardian games, and they gave us the class specific armor sets or piece, i.e. the mark, the bond, or the cloak. And I was like, what the hell? Why? Why not just make it so that you actually get to wear this set, so it feels like, yes, I am definitely in the Guardian games. I'm actually participating. And the Solstice was kind of irritating for the most part. The worst one was when you had to kill like 100 of those bosses in EDCA or EADC, whatever it was called. And it was just so annoying because you had to at least have hit one of them. And there was other things that was just annoying, but they could have, incorporated with like completing activities, completing medals, bounties, picking up laurels, stuff like that, which you were doing throughout the whole time anyways, because that was the bounties and medals, but they could have just incorporated it into the armor set instead, and I feel like that could have been really cool. So how exactly, maybe you could still deposit medals into the podium still, so there's at least somehow they can see who is winning instead of it just being armor sets like that. But having that with it would have been really cool. And they could have been like universal ornament armor sets. At the end, like the fourth, the one you win is the universal armor set. Can't speak. Now that's something that really irritated me with the Solstice event, is because the Solstice event ended almost, what was it, like a week before Shadowkeep came out, when they started with these universal ornament armor sets, and they gave you the 2.0 version of it instead of turning it into a universal armor ornament set. It's kind of irritating to say that over and over again. That could have been really cool. It could have really like set off, like not set up, but to actually show you what universal armament set is, how it works. It could have introduced you to that idea, because the Solstice armor set looks really cool, but I can't use them mainly because the stats are so bad. The stats on my 2.0 was actually shittier than the ones that was on my 1.0, which was like, well, but this was nice, I guess. Like the only thing you could use is probably like the class specific item, because they don't really have any stats. There's some can have stats if you get a curated or something like this. You get 2, and then I have 12 plus in recovery because I have that mod, but it's just, you can have something like this. As you can see, there's the buff. I don't know exactly, it just says an XP rewards. So I don't know by how much, but it is by some. And I think I got the 10 from Ghost Shell, yeah. I feel like they should have done that instead. Because I've seen some people complain about them selling the universal armament set, and that is not 100% of the reason to why I'm making this video, or not making this video, but talking about the armor sets and how they could have done it. I feel like they could have done it just so you actually felt like you were more into it, or more in the game. You were actually participating in it. You actually felt like you were doing something, and there would be more of an incentive. Because as of now, we're already done. Or, well, I don't know. I am at least 100% done with Guardian games. The only thing I'm doing now is mostly additional bounties, so Bright Dust. But other than that, there isn't really anything to do. Like, if it was still for the armor set, as I kind of talked about on how it could have been instead. I might have been doing more bounties and medals to try to get it. So yeah, but yeah. So let's talk about the actual activity and the actual, I guess not activity, but the event. The event is kinda bullshit because I can't really call it an event, mainly because it just tells you to do what you were normally doing, but maybe use more abilities and different subclasses a little bit here and then. Like, okay. You were already doing Strikes, Gambit and Crucible. The one you might not have done anything of since forever, I guess, is Forges. This might have been a really long time ago since you actually did Forges, and it's a real strange thing for them to have added. I guess it is because of a lot of new light players is doing Forges and they thought like, why not? I'm not entirely sure, but they did. I'm not opposed to it. The bad part is just trying to get a lot of ability kills in Forges, because some Forges doesn't really have that many enemies and some are just more annoying. For example, Izanamis Forge with the 3 different islands, and since you don't auto collect laurels, yeah, you're gonna get quite a few of them. It's gonna take you a while to actually complete it. So yeah. It was just do bounties, mainly ability kills. It's just nothing too special. It did bring, however, weekly bounties, which did contain 200 Bright Dust. I mean, that's good. You might not really care about too much about Bright Dust, but I do, because I mean that's the only way for me to buy shit in the in the Eververse store. So you know, it's a nice thing to get some in-game currency like that. But yeah, I guess that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.